You ever notice how some people just seem happy? Not loud happy, not social media happy, not the kind of happy where somebody posts 27 pictures from one vacation and then spends the next month arguing with strangers online. I mean real happy, the kind of happy that feels calm, the kind of happy that doesn't disappear when life gets weird, the kind of happy that somehow gets stronger with age, and every time you meet someone like that, you start wondering, what do they know that the rest of us don't? Because let's be honest, most people think happiness comes from getting something, more money, a bigger house, a better job, a better relationship, a better body, a better version of themselves. And then they spend years chasing one thing after another, but something strange happens. They finally get what they wanted, and they're already looking for the next thing. It's like buying a new phone. For 3 days you're excited. By day 4 you're already searching reviews for the next one. Human beings are funny like that. We can turn our biggest dreams into normal Tuesdays. And that's why today's video is so important. Because the happiest people aren't happy because life gave them special treatment. Trust me, many of them have gone through heartbreak, failure, loss, disappointment, stress. The same stuff everybody faces. The difference is hidden in a few quiet habits. Habits nobody applauds. Habits nobody posts about. Habits that slowly build a life that feels good from the inside. And according to Carl Jung, true happiness isn't about controlling the world around you. It's about creating peace inside yourself. Today we're talking about 5 quiet habits that help people stay happy no matter how old they get. And I have a feeling one of these habits is going to hit you right in the heart. So while you're watching, I want you to think about something. Which habit do you already practice? And which one do you need more of? Drop it in the comments. I read them. And chances are somebody else needs to hear your answer too. All right, let's get into it. Because the first habit is surprisingly simple, but almost nobody does it. Habit number 1. They stop competing with everyone. Let's have an honest moment. How many times have you compared yourself to somebody today? Be honest, you don't have to tell me, but your brain knows. Maybe somebody your age looks younger. Maybe somebody you know makes more money. Maybe your old classmate suddenly became successful. Maybe your cousin somehow has a perfect life, at least according to Facebook, which means it's probably only 17% true, because social media is basically a highlight reel mixed with good lighting. And yet, people compare their entire lives to somebody else's best moments. That is exhausting. Carl Jung understood something important. The unhappiest people are often trapped in comparison. They're constantly measuring, constantly checking, constantly wondering if they're ahead or behind. And here's the problem. There is no finish line. You can always find somebody richer, smarter, younger, more attractive, more successful. The comparison game never ends. It's like trying to drink the ocean. Good luck with that. The happiest people quietly step out of the race, not because they gave up, but because they realized it was the wrong race. They stop asking, am I better than them? And start asking, am I becoming more myself? That's a completely different question. Think about a tree. A mango tree doesn't spend all day wishing it was a coconut tree. Imagine how ridiculous that would be. The mango tree is just busy being a mango tree. Meanwhile, humans are over here saying, I'm successful, but not as successful as that guy. I look good, but not as good as her. I'm doing okay, but not as okay as them. No wonder people are tired. Comparison steals joy faster than almost anything. And the funny thing, most of the people you're comparing yourself to are busy comparing themselves to somebody else. It's a giant chain of unnecessary stress. One person wants another person's life. That person wants someone else's life. And that person wants somebody else's life. Nobody wins. The happy people eventually figure this out. They stop chasing somebody else's story. They start building their own. And when they do, something changes. Life feels lighter. Not perfect, just lighter. Because they're no longer carrying the weight of everybody else's expectations. They're simply becoming themselves. And honestly, that's where real happiness begins. Not when you become someone else. When you finally stop trying to. Now, here's something I want you to think about. If comparison disappeared from your life for 1 week, what would you do differently? What dream would you chase? What would you stop worrying about? Put that in the comments. I think the answers might surprise you, because the second habit is even more powerful, and most people don't discover it until much later in life. Habit number 2. They find joy in small things. Now this one sounds simple, almost too simple. In fact, some people hear this and immediately think, yeah, enjoy the little things. Then they roll their eyes and keep scrolling. But stay with me for a second, because this habit might be one of the biggest secrets to lasting happiness. Think about it. Most people are waiting for happiness, waiting for Friday, waiting for vacation, waiting for retirement, waiting for the next big thing. Their happiness is always scheduled for a future date. It's like happiness is some celebrity that's running late to the party, and they're standing by the door saying, "It should be here any minute now." Meanwhile, life keeps happening. Carl Jung believed that much of suffering comes from being disconnected from the present moment. Not because the present is perfect, but because we're rarely in it. We're usually replaying yesterday, or worrying about tomorrow, or imagining conversations that haven't happened yet. You know those imaginary arguments you win in the shower? Yeah, those. Some people have won entire championships in shower arguments, gold medal level. Meanwhile, the happiest people have a different habit. They notice things, small things, quiet things, simple things, a cool breeze, a good cup of coffee, a random song that brings back memories, the sound of rain, a dog getting excited for absolutely no reason. Honestly, dogs might know more about happiness than most humans. A dog sees you after 10 minutes and reacts like you returned from a 7-year voyage across the ocean. That level of enthusiasm is inspiring. The happy people don't wait for giant moments. They collect tiny ones. And here's the strange part. Tiny moments add up. One smile, one laugh, one peaceful walk, one beautiful sunset, one conversation with somebody you love. Individually they seem small. Together they become a happy life. Most people miss this because they're looking for fireworks. The happy people appreciate candles too. And if you're always chasing huge moments, life can start feeling disappointing, because huge moments are rare. But little moments, they're everywhere. Right now, today, even on an ordinary Tuesday, think about the happiest memories in your life. Seriously, take a second. A lot of them probably weren't expensive. A lot of them weren't planned. A lot of them happened when you weren't trying so hard. That's not an accident. The happiest people learn how to enjoy life while it's happening. Not after. Not someday. Now. And that changes everything. So here's a question. What's one small thing that made you smile recently? Maybe it happened today. Maybe it happened this week. Share it in the comments. Let's fill this comment section with good energy, because somebody reading it might need that reminder. And speaking of reminders, the next habit is one that almost nobody talks about, but it quietly protects happiness better than almost anything else. Habit number 3. They don't take everything personally. Oh boy, this one can save years of stress. Years. Let's imagine something. You send a message, no reply. 10 minutes pass, 30 minutes pass, an hour passes, and suddenly your brain becomes a movie director. They must be upset. Did I say something wrong? They don't like me anymore. The friendship is over. Meanwhile, the other person is just asleep, or eating pizza, or watching videos of raccoons stealing food, which, by the way, is a real thing people spend time watching. Humans are fascinating. The point is, most people create emotional storms out of situations they don't fully understand. Carl Jung noticed something powerful. People often project their fears onto the world. Instead of seeing reality, they see their assumptions. And assumptions are terrible storytellers. The happiest people understand something important. Not everything is about them. That sounds obvious. But think about it. Someone is rude. Maybe they're having a terrible day. Someone seems distant. Maybe they're struggling with something. Someone criticizes you. Maybe they're dealing with their own insecurity. The world becomes much easier to live in when you stop assuming every negative thing is a personal attack. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes people are rude. Sometimes people are unfair. Sometimes people are difficult. Some people wake up every morning and choose chaos. We all know at least one person like that. No names. Keep the peace. But even then, the happy people don't carry it forever, because carrying every insult is like collecting rocks in a backpack. At first it's manageable, then it gets heavier, and heavier, and heavier, until you're exhausted. Meanwhile, the person who upset you has already forgotten the whole thing. They're eating lunch, watching television, living life, and you're still carrying the rock. That's why happy people learn to put the backpack down. Not because they're weak, because they're wise. They realize peace is more valuable than being offended all the time. And honestly, the older you get, the more important this becomes. You start asking yourself, do I really want to spend my energy on this? And most of the time the answer is no, because happiness grows when you stop taking ownership of every negative thing that happens around you. Sometimes people are fighting battles you can't see. Sometimes life is messy. Sometimes things aren't personal. And realizing that can feel incredibly freeing. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever spent days worrying about something, only to discover later it had nothing to do with you? We've all done it. Tell me about it in the comments. Trust me, you're not alone. And the next habit might be my favorite of all, because it explains why some people seem youthful and full of life, even when they get older. And it has nothing to do with age. Habit number 4. They stay curious about life. Have you ever met someone who is 80 years old, but somehow feels younger than people who are 40? Not because of how they look, not because of what they wear, not because they're trying to act young. There's just something about them. They have energy, they have spark, they have that little twinkle in their eye, like they're still interested in life. Those people are everywhere, and they all seem to share one thing: curiosity. They never stop learning, never stop wondering, never stop asking questions. Meanwhile, some people become old long before they become old, not physically, mentally. They stop exploring, stop growing, stop being interested, and when curiosity disappears, life starts feeling smaller. Carl Jung believed that growth never truly ends. The human soul wants to expand. It wants to discover. It wants to understand. It wants to experience. And the happiest people keep feeding that part of themselves. Think about children. Children are curious about everything. Everything. A child can spend 20 minutes investigating a rock. A rock. Meanwhile, adults walk past entire sunsets because they're checking emails. Somewhere along the way, many people lose their sense of wonder. The happiest people never completely lose it. They're still asking questions, still reading books, still trying new hobbies, still meeting new people, still learning strange random facts they absolutely do not need. You know, the kind of facts that make people say, "Why do you know that?" And your answer is, "I honestly have no idea." That's curiosity. And curiosity keeps life fresh, because every day becomes an opportunity instead of a repetition. The happiest people don't know everything. They don't need to. They're simply interested. Interested in people. Interested in ideas. Interested in experiences. Interested in life itself. And here's something funny. Curious people tend to worry less, because curiosity and fear can't dominate your attention at the same time. One says, "What if everything goes wrong?" The other says, "I wonder what happens next." That's a very different energy. One shrinks your world. The other expands it. So let me ask you something. What's something you've always wanted to learn? A language, an instrument, cooking, painting, dancing? How to stop buying things you don't need online at midnight? That last one might be the hardest skill on earth. Drop your answer below, because you never know. You might inspire someone else to try something new. And that brings us to the final habit. The one that ties everything together, the one Carl Jung would probably smile at. Because without this habit, the other four become much harder. Habit number 5. They make peace with themselves. This is the big one, the quiet habit behind all the others. Because no matter how successful you become, no matter how much money you make, no matter how many goals you achieve, you still have to live with one person every single day. You. And surprisingly, many people spend their entire lives fighting themselves. They criticize themselves constantly, judge themselves constantly, compare themselves constantly, punish themselves constantly. They speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. Imagine calling your best friend every morning just to tell them, "You should be doing better. You're not enough. You'll never get it right." Eventually they'd stop answering your calls, but many people do exactly that to themselves every day. Carl Jung spent much of his life exploring the hidden parts of the human mind, and one of his biggest insights was this. The parts of ourselves we reject often become the parts that control us. Think about that. The flaws you hate, the mistakes you regret, the fears you hide, the insecurities you avoid, they don't disappear, they wait, and they keep showing up. The happiest people don't become happy because they're perfect. They become happy because they stop demanding perfection. They accept that they're human. They accept mistakes. They accept flaws. They accept that life is a process, not a performance. That's a huge difference. Most people treat life like a test. Happy people treat life like a journey. And journeys include wrong turns. Wrong turns don't mean you're failing. They mean you're moving. Think about every person you admire, every wise person, every strong person, every resilient person. Do you think they got there without mistakes? Not a chance. They got there through mistakes, through failures, through lessons, through growth. The happiest people understand this. They stop fighting reality. They stop fighting themselves. And when they do, something beautiful happens. They relax, not in a lazy way, in a peaceful way. They stop trying to earn their worth. They realize they already have it. And that realization changes everything, because once you're no longer at war with yourself, you finally have energy to enjoy life. And isn't that what we're all looking for? Not perfection, not constant excitement, not endless achievement, just peace, a peaceful heart, a peaceful mind, a peaceful life. And that peace starts with making peace with yourself. So let's quickly look at the 5 quiet habits. Happy people stop competing with everyone. They find joy in small things. They don't take everything personally. They stay curious about life. And most importantly, they make peace with themselves. Notice something interesting? None of these habits require money. None require status. None require perfect circumstances. They're available to almost everyone. Starting today. Starting right now. And maybe that's the biggest lesson of all. Happiness isn't hiding somewhere in the future. It isn't waiting for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect house, the perfect version of you. It's built quietly. One thought, one choice, one habit at a time. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 habits do you think is the most important? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, or number 5? Put the number in the comments and tell us why. I genuinely love reading your thoughts, and who knows, your comment might be exactly what somebody else needs to hear today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and join us for more wisdom inspired by Carl Jung, psychology, personal growth, and the deeper truths that help us live happier lives. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, stay curious, and don't forget to enjoy the small moments. They might just be the big moments you were looking for all along.